Hey, here was my old friend Stuff Lynch from the Oak Hill Red Devils, now coaching here in Oak Hill. And stuff back in the day when we were doing this, we weren't taping these things like this.
No,
Weird, isn't it?
You had a VCR tape.
You played. I was looking around the area. We got a lot of freshmen playing ball. You were one of the guys that was able to come up, play varsity basketball from your first day here for Oak Hill here. You guys obviously won the state championship your sophomore year, but what do you remember about that freshman year and just coming up and being able to play?
Well, when I was a freshman, Coach Lilly come to me and told me that he was going to move me to the JV squad, and I wasn't going to play freshman at all. And I think maybe I played 1 or 2 games JV, and then I got moved up to varsity, and ended up playing a lot of time my freshman year on varsity.
Not a starter, but a role player, or did you start?
Well, I started out as a role player to get familiar with Coach Lilly's program and just to get the feel of it. And then I think about the 4th or 5th game, I ended up starting at the 2 guard.
And I guess the rest is history.
The rest of it was interesting.
What did you think when you were in 8th grade that there'd be a chance to play as a varsity? Because like it didn't have. You told me the only other one you could think of was Tracy Shelton, who did it here.
In 8th grade, I didn't think about playing varsity. I thought I was going to play on the freshman team. And then Coach Lilly come down to the gym one day, and he was sitting there watching us at Collins. Yeah. And he was watching us play, and he introduced himself to me. I didn't know who he was. He said, "I'm Coach Lilly, the coach at Oak Hill High School." He said, and this is what I respected about him. He said, if you want to play for me one day, you got to get better in the classroom. And so then when I came to school here, and he was always on me about my grades and make sure I was going to class, and he was like, "Hey, you're not going to play freshman basketball. You're going to come and play varsity in JV."
Were you shocked? Scared? A little nervous?
Well, I mean, a 9th grader coming in and he's telling you you're going to play varsity, yeah, I was scared. And I think actually every game that I played in before the game, and they always made fun of me, I would throw up before every game. We would go in right before the game, and I'd have to go throw up.
So it was a very daunting task, to say the least. Nowadays, you see there's some teams starting 2 freshmen. Wyoming East is one that starts 2 freshmen. Several of the schools in Raleigh County have freshmen. I'm sure there's some freshmen over here that can play, or guys maybe you coached in your middle school job that you think will be good in a couple of years, maybe not good enough to do that.
Well, and it's more these days of kids are moving up to varsity. And the thing of it is, though, if you want to get better, and that's why I tell my middle school kids now, if you want to get better, you got to continue all year round to play basketball. You can't just wait until basketball season to want to play. I was watching the interview the other day, and Coach Kidd from Beckley, he said, "Hey, you got to play basketball all the way around, all year, right. All year. It's not basketball season or it's not pickup. If you want to get better, you have to keep a basketball in your hand, and then you can be able to get a chance to play varsity or move up or even get better every day."
Are there reasons you think why kids are able to do that more and are better adept at, you and Tracy were the only ones. The only other one I can think of is Tim D'Agostine. People watching this probably know maybe 1 or 2 here. It wasn't prevalent, though, like it is now. If you're not playing on the varsity team when you're a freshman, you may never do it. JV's not really for moving up anymore.
Right. Well, and that's...
in all instances.
Well, and that's what it goes back to. To be successful and you want to set a goal to say, hey, I want to be a freshman, I want to play varsity. But it all starts at the youth. It all starts when you want to decide to play basketball. And you got to get better at it and continue to practice, and work your way at it. It's not something that you're just going to step in and say, hey, that's what I'm going to do. It takes a lot of basketball practice and wanting to have the love for the game.
Do you ever think about the fact that you did something back in your day? Because most freshmen, they were coming up, they were on that freshman, at least till the end of the freshman season. Right. You ever think about it? Tracy Shelton was right before you, but he did it too. That's 2 guys out of all the schools around.
Back in the day when I was a freshman or even before, you know, you have people with the Oak Hill history like Speedy Jones, Mark Peterson, you know, and Michael Wright. You know, so Tracy being from Harlem Heights and these younger kids like Michael Wright and those guys, you know, he would go out and play with them, and that made us better. I would play with Speedy. I would play with Mark Peterson. I used to look up to these guys and be like, hey, I want to be like them one day. Even when Tracy was in school, I was like, I want to be like Tracy Shelton, you know, and we worked at it. But we played every day. We played against people that were older than us that we looked up to as our idols and say, hey.
And down there, it just usually moved up by years.
Right.
New guys would come up. I remember seeing guys playing down there. People played all the time.
You know, and it's funny because I was talking to Coach Bolin when we was over at Beckley at that classic that they had,
Yeah.
and him and Sammy Hall, and you know, I didn't realize it at the time, but he was like, you know, the thing that got me when they said that when Stuff was a freshman, we was playing Woodrow, and I didn't realize I'd done it, and he said, well, he drove the baseline and he dunked on the whole team, and that's they keep bringing it up, and I'm like, you know, it wasn't anything that I planned to do.
Was
it
it
just
your
happened.
freshman year?
That was my freshman year, and it happened. And you know, it's good that, you know, that they bring that up, and the games like tonight that we're having against Beckley, because it was a big rival.
Right.
And you know, and we would battle, and we went back and forth, and they had some great teams. We had some good teams, and it's just they wanted to get better, and we wanted to get better.
Real quick, and I've asked you this before, and we've done this before, but Stuff, a lot of people know you as Stuff. They probably think that's because you could jam a basketball. You could slam dunk when you were in 8th grade. I remember seeing you do it down in Montgomery, actually. I think you had a dunk down there.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about the origin of your name, because maybe not what people think.
Well, Dave, I'm gonna tell you like this. There's some people that know the real name or the real meaning of how I got Stuff, and there's people that don't, that took it from basketball. So we're just gonna leave it at that.
Well, I know what it is, so. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that do.
Yes.
But it works for basketball very well.
It did. I was privileged, and I had a good career, and you know, I met a lot of people, and I respect a lot of people, and there's a lot of people that taught me a lot of things growing up in high school and middle school. And but as far as this stuff, we'll just say, hey, I got it from basketball.
Stuff I appreciate, man.
Dave,
Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
Appreciate your time, man.
All right.